analysis. So we will just start with the particular session, but before that we will just have a short introduction with respect to what is BDG Life Sciences Private Limited. So this particular company, we will just take a little bit glimpse about this particular BDG Life Science company, so that what courses it will be offered to you all, and what are the particular benefits you can take from this particular platform. That particular thing we are going to take for another 2 to 3 minutes, and then we will start with the respect to our course what we have been enrolled for. So I will just welcome all the participants, and we will just begin with this particular glimpse of the BDC Life Sciences. So this particular BDC Life Sciences is the company which has been formerly known as Biodiscovery Group India, and it has been expert in delivering the quality of service to the biotechnology, bioinformatics, and pharmaceutical companies, and even the clients. So majorly it has been focused on this particular three domains, you can see, as a biotechnology, bioinformatics, and pharmaceutical companies. So based on this particular three domains, this particular BDG Life Sciences are providing lots of courses with respect to online basis. And right now we are taking some online courses with respect to number of different courses with respect to this three particular domains, that is the biotechnology, bioinformatics, and pharmaceuticals. So this particular BDG has been started in 2010, and the main objective is to create a truly world class organization which is fully committed with the offer of best services to the industry. So this particular, you can say, as in this particular BDC is a platform which providing a lots of courses, and it is giving a best in the particular courses with respect to whatever the workshop it has been conducted, or the online services which has been provided. So the main services which has been included, as it is providing a research projects. It is also conducting a lots of workshops in the form of online and on-site basis, and also training. So not only it is conducting the workshops and seminars, whereas it is also conducting a hands-on training in online basis, so that the researchers or the students or the beginners can take a lots of new overview with respect to the courses which has been provided by the BTC Life Sciences. It is also conducting the webinars, and also the internships, and also it is conducting some contract research and the seminars with respect to the even the conferences. So even it is covering lots of services, whereas this particular company, it has been providing the broad services, or you can say as a hands-on training workshops or the courses. So these are the particular services being provided with respect to BDC Life Sciences. So if you are all planning to get enrolled for the workshop, so take a little bit introduction towards this, as this particular topic has been listed over here. So if you're planning to get enrolled for any of the particular course, so definitely try to enroll, because it is going to be conduct in these particular following topics, that is bioinformatics with basic and advanced. So if you are a beginner, to just start with respect to what is bioinformatics and what are the different databases and tools are available, so that you can just start with your research work. So you can just enroll for this. Even it is providing a separate structured bioinformatics course. Okay, so who are interested in the drug designing concept of molecular docking studies, so this particular structural bioinformatics will really help you. And gene and genome editing using CRISPR and Cas9 technology. So BTC is the first company, I think so, that is providing this particular course, that is the gene and genome editing using CRISPR technology, that is based on the online basis. Okay, so whereas it is also providing the drug discovery technology using the virtual screening, docking, and ADMAT properties. So it is covering lots of different methods based on virtual screening, how it has been carried out, how the docking steps has been carried out, and ADMAT properties. Whereas it is also covering the molecular dynamics and simulations, genomics and proteomics. It is also very much important topics. We are working with respect to genomics analysis, proteomic analysis. based on the using the certain bioinformatics platform, so they can just get enrolled for this. And whereas it has been covering next generation sequencing data analysis. So I think lots of researchers are using this particular field, or you can say as a domain, to study their cancer related research, or with respect to using the next generation sequencing. It is covering whole genome sequencing using DNA-seq, RNA-seq sequencing, and cheap sequencing using de novo exome transcriptomics, metatranscriptomics, metagenomics, and immuno based, that is the rep sequencing. So lots of you can say as topics it's been covered. So if you're planning to get enrolled, just take benefits of this particular courses which has been provided. Even apart from the bioinformatics and the next generation sequencing and the dynamics or the docking study, it has also been covering the what is artificial intelligence and the machine learning methods or the algorithms which has been used in the biological examples. Okay. And it is also covering the immunoinformatics and vaccine designing. I think this is a very robust particular domain which is nowadays it has been used by the researchers to get novel information using this particular technology. And it is also covering the in silico molecular biology and genetic engineering. So I think this is a purely that is a genetic engineering is purely a in vitro based study, whereas the in silico, how different platforms, or you can say as the different databases or tools are using the benefits over here, that particular thing will be going to be explored in this particular topic. Genome and mutation analysis, I think this is very much important to get to know the genome and mutation based analysis. And whereas cancer omics, so in the cancer omics, we are covering different techniques to study the omics study, whereas it is also covering the genomics, proteomics, transcriptomics, metabolomics, and the you can say a loss of omics techniques, so that you can study what is the cancer by integrating the different omics technique. And further, you can, if you get to get enrolled for the cancer omics, you can also move ahead your study by designing a precision medicine with respect to cancer study. And now this particular session we are going to cover, that is the cancer clinical data analysis, which you all have been enrolled for. So I think this particular is been all integrated. Once you know what is canceromics, you can just take one application of the precision medicine, and also get to know what is how the clinical data is playing an important role for designing a precision medicine and integrating the canceromics data. Okay. So I think this is a one line introduction with respect to what actually you are going to be uh, cover in this particular session. Okay. And apart from this, we are also conducting the data science and data warehousing and agri genomics and plant informatics, okay, for improving the growth and its medicinal value to design drugs. And it's also covering the cancer, HIV, diabetes, and the tuberculosis research. And whereas using different and gaining lots of knowledge with respect to omics or the clinical data or the bioinformatic resource, you can also get to know what is R programming, which is really important to visualize or analyze our data using the cancer data which is here it has been given, and how the particular programming really help to design a new analysis with respect to the data which you have been working for. I think this is a little bit glimpse about what is the particular BDG Life Science and how different services has been provided. And if you're planning to get enrolled, so try to take lots of benefits by using this particular services. And even you, apart from the you can say as a workshop, you will also get the hands-on training, a demo with respect to different technologies, with respect to different you can say as a courses which has been given by the particular BDG Life Sciences. Okay. So I think this a little bit introduction, so we'll just move towards the session. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we will just start with the cancer clinical data analysis. So I think going ahead with respect to what is clinical data and how the cancer with respect to the clinical data sets are there, and how to analyze those data sets with respect to studying the clinical data sets, so that we can use for the number of applications with respect to cancer based study. So here we are particularly focusing with respect to the clinical data specifically towards the cancer based study. Okay. So whereas we are going to cover how particular clinical data will really help us to understand the cancer data sets by integrating the cancer omics approach. Okay, I have told you in the previous slide, that is in the introduction of the BDC Life Sciences, in that services slide, I have explained you that the one line introduction about how the cancer clinical data analysis is been integrated with the cancer omics and the one of the application, that is a precision medicine. Okay, so this all are integrated. It is not restricted to study only the clinical data, whereas you all should also have a basic knowledge about how actually you can integrate the clinical data with respect to using the omics data sets. Okay, so that's a very much important. Then only you can apply the clinical data, so that you can get certain novel objectives with respect to your study. Okay, I will just begin with that. So before going towards what is the cancer clinical data analysis, first I think you all should have to know what is clinical data first. Then only we can move ahead for understanding how actually the clinical data can be used for studying the cancer data sets. Okay, so clinical data consists of the information ranging from the determinants of the health and measure the health status. I think you all know that when the clinical data sets has been extracted from the particular patients, if the particular patients have some abnormal or the some mutations or the disease related information found in the particular patient, then only we take the sample from the particular patient. So we are studying the particular health based on the different features which are there. So this particular clinical data is being used to capture the variety of purposes. Okay, so it is based on different purposes are there. We are taking different clinical samples, whereas it is also used to store in the numerous databases across the healthcare system. Whatever the clinical data has been extracted from the patient, it is being stored in the proper format, or you can say as one of the proper platform where the researcher can use the benefits of this particular clinical data and can used for designing a novel or the uh, a research objective with respect to any disease, or specifically with respect to cancer disease. Okay, so I think the it is a basic research which is integrating with the clinical research. So what we are actually doing, that is the clinical data is consist of different information from the patient. We are taking for the treatment. Okay, we are taking the clinical data for the disease analysis, or for the clinician practice. Okay, to get to know what's the data it is, and for the practice of the particular data sets, we can also take the data from the patient. And we are also taking we are also looking towards the patient well-being and the family history also. So I'm going to cover this, how it is really help you to all. And also for designing the health system, you can say as a particular platform where can researchers can really take benefits of that and move ahead for the research based objectives. Okay, so the basic it has been really much important, the clinical research, because it improves the health. You can say as we can know how the particular disease is being involved, and what are the different factors are responsible for causing those diseases. So for that purpose we really need the clinical data. Okay, So that's the importance of clinical data sets. Whereas where do the clinical data come from? Okay, so definitely I have told you that the clinical data will really come from if the patient has some disease or some uh, uh, you can say as a mutations in the body or alterations in the body function. For that only purpose we take the clinical data. And for maintaining maintenance, you can say as for taking the follow up. Once we take the data from the patient, again we again take it extract the particular samples from the patient, so that we can just get to know how the particular before the treatment the patient is giving the response, and how after treatment the patient is giving the response. So that's the follow up we are taking by the clinical data. Okay, whereas we are also taking the clinical data for the screening purposes. Okay, screening purposes are nothing but the to get to know the what are the tumor sample, or you can say what's the size of that, is the patient has been explored to different factors or not. So that's for screening purpose we are using. And for examining the particular data sets to get to know and get the results of particular data sets, that's we are taking. Whereas this particular slide will give you a little information how the particular flow of the clinical data is being covered. So definitely we are taking the clinical data from the patient, and that particular thing which has been properly organized by the hospitals. Okay, that is they have their own particular database to store the clinical data sets, right? So they really store their own data in the particular database format with respect to which particular patients, with respect to the different age group or the different disease based study. So based on that they properly store the particular data. You can see as based on the dates, diagnosis, and what are the different, they have given their own identifier with respect to the clinical samples, that is ID it has been provided, or else they will give the particular code for the particular patient ID. And this particular data is not only been extracted from the patient, whereas it is also been taken with respect to based on the radiotherapy or different techniques which is being used. So get extract the image of the particular tumor. Likewise we use different technologies also, rather than taking the patient sample. Whereas this particular treatment database is nothing but we are providing and working with the patient, so that we can get to have some follow up with respect to the patients. So we are taking some pharmaca records which particular you can say as the tablets or the informations we are providing with respect to pharma records, you can say dates, and what the particular therapeutic protocols we are providing to the particular patient. That's really important. Okay, so that what the particular things we are giving towards the patients, and how it has been responding towards the particular drug list which we have been provided based on the doses which are we are giving towards the patients. So that's the follow up we are taking. Whereas a patient database is the other thing, where we are collecting or the collection of the electronic medical records. That's nothing but the each particular we can say as our hospitals have their own databases with respect to patient information in the form of electronic base, that is electronic medical records and patient data. So why they maintain the electronic records, or because the so that they can further share the particular data with the particular, you can say as the institutes or the particular research based company, so that they can utilize those particular clinical data for designing or for generating novel drug like molecule or the druggable targets, so with respect to that particular disease, using the particular clinical data sets. So I'm going to also going to show you one of the database where you will get the clinical data with respect to omics data sets. Okay, So how the particular omics data sets is really important to integrate with the clinical data sets, so that you can design a precision medicine, or else these are nothing but the objectives or the applications of using the clinical data sets. Okay, or else you can design a novel drug targets with respect to that particular disease. So these are nothing but the research which actually we are going to carry by using the clinical data sets. Okay, so patient data, that is the, I have told you that taking with respect to the certain images of the particular data sets, or the one of the major role it has been playing over here is the cancer management. Okay, so cancer management is nothing but one of the, you can say, as a separate domain, where how the particular clinical data or the particular data set is been managed by the particular different institutes or the hospitals, how the data has been shared with respect to the security, with respect to the control access data. So that's a particular different, you can say, as a domain. The clinical events means how the particular data set has been extracted. Pathological report, I think you all know what is the pathological report. Metastatic disease, so this are nothing is been covering with respect to cancer data sets, how the metastatic of the cancer. Okay, what are the anti-cancer treatment which we are providing towards the patients? Do we are providing only the medicines, or else we are also providing certain therapies, that is in the form of chemotherapy or targeted therapy? So targeted therapy is one of the application of the precision medicine, you can say, or the androgen therapy, or the immunotherapy, or the radiotherapy. So these are nothing but different therapies apart from the medicines which we are providing towards the patient. Okay, and surgery even, if the patient need a surgery, based how you get to know how the particular patient need a surgery, because you all means you have been extracted the clinical data from the patients. So based on that only we come to know, get to know that the patients need a surgery or different therapy, or only by medicine the particular patient can get cured. So that's the particular thing analysis we can only get assured only by taking the clinical samples from the patient. Okay, so going to know that what's the clinical data and how it has been really important, so that we can get to know the analysis which particular treatment which we all should have to provide towards the patients. Afterwards we also have to know what are the types of clinical data. Okay, so I have told you that the clinical samples, by taking the records of the particular samples, or by the numerical measurements. Okay, I think I will show you in the clinical data how the numerical measurements are nothing but the blood pressure, temperature, different factors which we are covering with respect to that particular sample. Okay, with means what the ratio of the particular blood pressure should be, what the temperature should be, the particular average ratio should be. So that numerical average value we should have to be considered, then only we can say that yes, the particular patient has been diseased or not. Okay, um, whereas I have told you that certain clinical data has been in the form of controlled access, that has been not provided from the particular institutes, so that we can carry certain research. So some of the data is in control form, whereas apart from numerical data we also get some textual data. Means the particular means textual data is nothing but the which the patient race information, that is Asian, black, or the African, that's the textual data. Or else the sex means age, means female or male, which what is the patient it is. So that's the textual data which we are covering. And recorded signals we are also taking, that is ECG or EEG or EKG. These are nothing but the different technologies where we are extracting the particular data from the patients using this particular technology. And whereas I have also told you that we also take the particular pictures in the form of tumor samples, or with what is the size of the tumor. Okay, in the form of images, or the radiograph is nothing but taking the particular image, or photographs are the different image capture machines where actually we extract the image from the patient. apart from taking the samples in the form of fluids from the particular patient. So that's the other types which we take from the patient sample. And this particular slide will give you a little bit information how the particular flow will work. Okay, so what happened to the data in the clinical trials? So data which has been extracted and generated from the particular patient, which has been further stored in the particular you can say as the databases or the platform where even the particular hospitals will carry out, or you will get to have to be explore different platforms or databases which they are providing their own unique data collections, okay, in the form of electronic data sets. Whereas we researchers are using this particular data set so that we can work on different data types with respect to numerical data or the clinical data with respect to using certain images. Okay, so that particular data has been carried out so that we can collect and store the data, because all the data sets which we are working, definitely it will be as a big data. Okay, because taking the clinical data with respect to the different patients and the samples, it need different storations for that. So we are providing means it will be available in different platforms, or you can store in the particular cloud based. So these are the different platforms where we can store the data so that we can utilize further for analysis, for doing the particular prediction based study using different technology. So I think one of the technology is nothing but the machine learning or deep learning based study. So that studying, I think for the image data analysis, the deep learning technology is really important. So you can do different analysis and prediction of different images with respect to it is tumor sample or not. So likewise we can further do, we can do different analysis and prediction using the clinical data set which has been uh, provided by different hospitals, and it has been stored in very well manner so that we can further utilized for doing different analysis. Okay, so what is the use of clinical data? So definitely so that we can have a basic historical records with the particular patients, which type of patients has been visited, or it has been stored, the data has been stored with different particular you can see as hospitals, and how it is being used and what type of analysis and predictions are being done using what type of particular group of patients. So that particular study we definitely need some historical report or the basic reports with respect to the clinical data. It will really help for the particular means in future for designing a novel, you can say I have told you the different objectives for designing different druggable targets or precision medicine, or for prediction of different disease. For that purpose we can definitely use those clinical data for keeping the records in the standard formats. Okay, for making the particular means this coding and billings are nothing but with respect to the particular hospitals. And some I have told you some of the data is in the form of control access, so it really need a certain legal records for that. And it is definitely it will help for the support for the clinical research. Okay, how we researchers definitely take benefit of that particular clinical data and move for the further analysis and prediction of novel objectives with respect to the study. So that's the use of the clinical data. Whereas apart from that, what are the types of clinical data documents are available? So that's the particular clinician, you can say as a taking the history and the physical data sets with respect to the particular patients, keeping the records of that, and how the particular data sets is being for so that we can use for the understanding those data and used for the further analysis. And this particular data sets is used to maintain the all patient records with respect to what type of particular treatment which we have been provided towards the patients for that particular study. there is also a very much need for maintaining the documents and records with respect to the clinical data. So why the particular clinical data has been studied? So it has been studied so that we can do certain analysis with respect to the clinical data. Okay, so what is clinical data analysis? So a clinical data analysis in the healthcare is information which has been professionally, or you can say which has been uh, uh, generated from the particular hospitals and which is being extracted from the particular patients, so that you can definitely validate those data using certain scientific experiments or gather the data from the research. Okay, so that we can utilize those data for analysis, for the objective based study, for the research analysis. For that purpose, the analysis is very much important for taking those particular clinical data sets. Okay, so I think this is one of the you can say as, even by studying and getting a knowledge about what is clinical data and how actually you can analyze those data sets, there is a separate need of the clinical data scientist in the market. Okay, so I have included this particular slide because if in future you're planning purely to get benefits of for the particular, that is the clinical data scientist as a particular thing in the market, then you should definitely have a knowledge about what the particular clinical data scientist definitely work with which particular data. For that purpose, you all should have to know what's the clinical data it is, what are the types of the clinical data, how the particular clinical data is being extracted with respect to the particular patients, and how it has been further processed. Okay, so the clinical data scientist has a comprehensive knowledge. So comprehensive knowledge is nothing but how the particular I have told you that in the introduction slide, before this particular slides, how the data has been extracted and it has been processed further. What are the types of the particular data sets? How the treatment or the follow-ups which we are taking with respect to the patients, how the particular patient has been grouped with respect to disease and age factor or different factors which is responsible for causing those diseases. So we need a comprehensive knowledge about the particular area, about the, okay, and how the particular data is being managed, so that it is used for understanding and providing a standard protocols which can be or you can say as which has been really a standard protocols which is being shared among the particular institutes and the particular you can say as a, so that they can further use those particular standard protocols for extracting the clinical data sets and for analysis of the particular clinical data from the patients. So that's the role of the clinical data scientist. Okay, having a comprehensive knowledge of extracting those data, how it has been processed further, how it has been analyzed, and how the particular management is being done with respect to clinical data. Okay, so what are the example of clinical data sets? So the data which has been collected, including the administrative and the particular, you can say as institutes or the particular hospitals, it should be have used for the diagnosis, for the treatment, or you can say as for providing a prescription drugs for the particular patients. For that only purpose, we really need the clinical data. Okay, for the laboratory test is nothing but I think you all know how the particular urine sample or the blood sample, it has been taken from the particular patients, so that they can further do a particular analysis with respect to clinical based study, the for monitoring those data sets in from the hospitalizations and the for the different purposes has been used. Okay, so that's really much important of the taking those particular clinical data. And what does the clinical data analysis does do? So I think you all should have to know that what actually knowing the data sets or knowing what is the process has been carried out for the clinical data, what the role of that, how it has been further used. So a clinical data analysis, or you can say as a clinical information, because we are here to taking a comprehensive knowledge about the clinical data. so in the healthcare information, so that we can use for verifying the validated data in the form of scientific experiments, or it has been data which has been gathered and it has been stored in the particular platforms. Okay, so that this data can be analyzed, so that we can ensure that this particular process or the standard protocol should be followed. Okay, so that we can improve the quality and the efficacy of the cares with respect to the patients by providing a novel research or the objectives, or the providing novel druggable targets by studying those data sets. So that's the use of studying the clinical data sets. Whereas the clinical data is been now it is really used for used in the particular platform, so that it can be used as a repository, making a linkage is nothing but the integrating those data. I have told you that integrating the canceromics data sets, or you can say, if you're apart from the cancer, if you're really interested to work in different diseases, so there also you can study the omics based study, and in the omics study you can integrate the clinical data, so that you can say that you have not only studied the clinical data, or else not only study the different genomics or the proteomics based study, but also you have integrated the clinical data, so that you can provide a strong objectives or the application with respect to your study. Okay, so that's the making a linkage between the particular clinical data. And for analysis and interpretations of those data sets is a one of, you can say, as a challenging for an individual or the population level, because for designing the precision medicine with respect to the particular individualized treatment or providing the targeted therapy itself is a major challenge. So that to overcome these certain challenges, we can make a use of clinical data sets with respect to different omics based study. Okay, and this particular clinical data today is being trained to distribute widely across the healthcare system with respect to the patient, for manufacturing, and for the researchers, healthcare systems and the patients, so that we can get the data sets. Manufacturing is nothing but for the pharma companies to get to manufacture new drugs with respect to the particular disease, and the clinical data sets. And we, the researchers, are utilizing those particular data, so that we can propose a novel objectives using this particular platforms. Okay, so what is the clinical data? It is definitely it is a highly multivariant. Definitely it is highly multivariant, because we are taking those particular clinical data from the different patients with respect to the age factor, with respect to different exposure, with respect to the of the patient, with respect to different race what the particular patient is been belong. So that's a multivariant and highly, you can say, as a heterogeneous data, with the many important you can say as predictors or the response variables, which we are taking in the form of text data sets, image data sets, or else the particular numerical data sets. I have told you that. So that we can just correlate those data sets for based on the what is the survival based study, or with respect to the clinical data sets. And definitely the clinical data set, I have told you that some of the data sets will be in the form of control access. So why it has been showing as a control access? Because it will be have some security issue or the particular cost issue with respect to the particular samples, so which has been not provided by the particular hospitals based on their particular security or their particular purposes. So that particular data which is not, it is something bit little difficult to be obtained by the researchers. Okay, whereas the pharmaceutical companies or the particular institutes which really helping or the working in the field of research and development, they will get the particular authority to get access towards those particular data sets, because they are really working in the field of research and development field. Whereas the researchers will not get a particular benefits of using those particular control data sets. But if you are working with that particular research and development institute, then you can definitely uh, take a particular benefit of using that particular data sets. So historical in nature means is nothing but we are also keeping the records of different patients, so that based on the previous study we can say as some novel study with respect to the uh, d- uh, clinical or the particular historical data which has been stored. Okay. So what actually it is been covered with respect to the clinical data sets, for what purposes it is being used, so that we can study the sensitivity of the particular data sets by taking the sample, by studying the specificity of the particular samples. Okay, how specifically we are working with respect to what particular disease. Okay, for that particular specificity, sensitivity is nothing but the particular which particular drug is showing the particular you can say as the growth inhibitor sensitivity, or the cancer cell line based study, how the particular growth is cell or the particular drug is giving the response towards that particular drug. So that's the sensitivity. And likelihood ratio, different ratios or the predictive values are nothing but using different mathematical models or the statistical methods, or you can say as different AI technology in the form of machine learning and deep learning algorithms, how actually we can predict different values by training those data sets. So that's the use of over here, by studying what are the prevalences of the particular cancer types, or you can say as a disease based on the 5-year prevalences based on different countries based study, or you can say as the last 5 years of prevalences with respect to disease or the cancer. Okay, for studying what is a pre and post, that is nothing but the follow up with respect to the patients, with respect to the that is the before and after treatment. Okay, by studying I have told you that using different statistical and mathematical models, that is the cap miller is nothing but one of the study with respect to survival analysis. Cox is also one of the method where it is be used to predict the particular survival analysis of the particular clinical samples. So it is been used to study the risk of the relative risk of the particular patient, how the risk factor it has been included. And by studying the risk factor we can also get to know how which particular treatment we should have to be provide the patient, so that it can be recover fastly, so that that particular treatment or the particular medicines or you can say as a club of medicines and treatments, so that we can provide to the patients for the uh, uh, recovery of the particular patients. Okay, so you can say as for the quality of the particular patients and the different ROC is nothing but the survival analysis and the cost of the treatment. So that's the you can say as a few important requirement which is really need for the clinical samples. And what are the outcomes of that? So patients with the better, so that but I have told you that is what the particular follow-ups, that is the we have to take what's the particular patient's recovery rate, how the particular patient is giving a response towards the treatment based on the clinical samples. Once the patient is been you can say as admitted or the samples has been taken, so there is nothing, it is not like that only first sample has been taken from the patient, it is not like that. After the treatment whatever the treatment or the particular medicines we are providing, so based on that particular 2 months or 3 months, again we the hospitals they have to take the samples from the patients. So it's nothing but the follow up we should have to take so that we can for the recovery of the particular patients. Okay, or the cure, and how much long time do it take for the recovery. Okay, so that's the really thing we need from the clinical samples. And the step for performing the analysis, okay, or you can say analytics. So we should have to construct a query. It's nothing but taking the samples from the patients, what are the data, means how the particular samples is been taken and how it has been processed further. So that particular thing it has been included. Whereas data pre-processing and visualizations, that's a really much I think it is very much important, because knowing the data and pre-processing, and once visualizing in front of us, so that we can get a basic information how the tumor it has been occur, or you can say as uh, different factors are responsible for that. We need a different pre-processing and visualization. And data warehousing is nothing but the storing of data. So algorithm models, I have told you that different AI technologies is been using, so that we can design a novel predictive or the prognostic models with respect to using certain algorithms, or you can say as methods in the form of statistical or mathematical. And further we can run those models and say as yes, we have designed certain robust cancer predictive models by using the clinical data sets and different AI technologies and algorithms. And we used to study the results, how the results are varying using different technologies. Okay. We should have to repeat the step 3 is nothing but the algorithms, how accuracy or how the particular data or the particular samples we are giving the accuracy with respect to the study. So which algorithm it is been very much important, so that we can increase the accuracy with respect to the particular samples. So that's the really important. Okay. So that's I think you can say as a basic or the preliminary analysis you can follow by using these particular steps. uh, Data analysis is majorly, you can say it has been reports based on, I have told you that data management itself is one of the separate domain, how the data has been managed of the clinical data, which has been acquire the clean data sets, pre-prepared the data sets, okay, so that it can be further processed by the analysis management, means preparing of the data analysis, running those analysis data, reviewing results and the analysis steps. So that's the major steps which is really needed. It is not like that only the particular samples has been taken and it has been recorded. So before the recording or storing the particular data in the particular databases or the platform, it really need a you can say as a pre-processing or the preliminary analysis of the particular data sets, so that we can use for the querying of data sets, so that we can design and formulate a novel hypothesis or determine those data sets based on the requirements. And repeat cycles is nothing but the analysis management onwards, querying data managements are nothing but how the particular standard protocols has been repeated and how it has been changed with respect to the particular you can say as a study, and some historical data sets with respect to the patient samples. So that particular cycle has been repeated, so that the particular flow should be common to all the institutes or the particular hospitals or the particular research and development institutes, so that we can get the particular data sets in the particular formats, so that we can further utilize those data sets for the analysis and prediction based manner. So what are the types of data analysis? What actually we are actually working by taking those data sets. I have told you that that's different AI technology or the machine learning or the statistical methods are used. Is nothing but for the prediction. How we actually in prediction we have the classification. So what is classification is nothing but classifying those particular patients based on the age or the group. So for that we have different classifications algorithms. Okay. For that purpose we can use for the regression model for modeling the data. Okay. um, for taking the knowledge based on using the particular uh, samples, or estimation based study or the prediction and analysis based study, that thing we can do in the prediction. Whereas the structured discovery is nothing but clustering those data sets. So I think that's a really important, how the group or the clusters has been formed based on the patient samples. The different factor analysis, which I have told you, different factors which are responsible, and the domain structure discovery, that is the novel druggable targets. Network analysis, we can also do the certain network analysis. Okay. Relationship mining is nothing but the studying the association or the correlation between the particular data sets. Okay, so that thing we can do. And for the particular discovery and designing certain novel cancer related models based on the samples and the integrated samples which we are taking. Okay. Mm, Whereas whatever I have discussed in last half an hour regarding what is the cancer, means the clinical data, what are the different steps we should have to perform, how we can use different algorithms or the models or mathematical methods. So actually from where actually we can provide or we can actually use different platforms rather than bioinformatics is providing different databases and tools for that, but for analyzing your own data sets and generating a novel objectives, we have different platforms. Okay, so these are nothing but the tools, that is R, Python, Orange, Veka, and different are the different. You can say apart from this also you will get different. In this we have different packages. In that we can do the data analysis, visualization, prediction of our data, or training the data sets using R or the Python. So that's or Orange is also one of on, and Beka is been previously used, but Orange, Python, and R, you can take the benefits of that. And further, by getting the knowledge about what is the clinical data or the omics data and how actually you can integrate it, so that particular thing you can just extract using this particular platform, that is the Python or R. And in that you can call those data sets and you can do some basic analysis with respect to the, in the form of visualization, in the form of analysis, or the prediction, or uh, designing novel models with respect to the disease based study. So you can utilize this particular platform for doing those studies. So what are the data means which has been collected, and it is what are the new insights for that. So the clinical researchers or the particular institutes with respect to what are the particular data has been extracted, it is really important to understanding and discovering a robust or the advanced healthcare ability for collecting those data sets, how it has been collected, how it has been stored, and it has been analyzed in the form of vast amount of numerical data, that is the big data. So I have told you that data storage is also one of the major challenge over here, because we are dealing with the numerical textual data, image data sets with respect to different patient samples, with respect to age factor on the group. So that's a certain new insights for that. uh, the data based on the clinical care has some electronic healthcare records. I have told you certain healthcare records. Clinical based administrative data sets means they have their own particular standard formats or the particular standards protocols which has been referred by the governments. Okay, and large scale registry generated by and maintaining the particular government entities and the particular professional societies and the private sectors. So all they have their own particular standard protocols to refer and to for generating those clinical data sets and sharing with different institutes or the research and development companies. Okay, based on both public and privately with respect to funded. So that's the particular thing over here. So the clinical data has a particular basic you can say as a steps for the learning for the particular data. So this particular data has been available with respect to the you can say as a reliable or based on the particular historical data sets, so that you will have evidences of data sets, so that you can further guide and take the benefits of that for making you can say as a healthcare decision or for designing a novel druggable targets. I have told you for that particular objectives you can take the benefits of that. So important information about that, you can get a different diagnostic, how the different treatments is being provided towards that patient particular patients, which can be used for collecting multiple forms by many institutes from the different regions. Okay. Means you can say based on the issuer or the manufacturer or the particular patients or the researchers and the public agencies. So that's the data which has been really extracted. And there are the number of challenges which has been used for such of data for coding. Okay. And for making a particular platform where it can be accessed, and the standard protocols and the particular tools which is being used for the particular extracting of the data sets. So the most significant challenge you can say as with respect to the data has been restricted. So that is a control data sets. So that's the major challenge over here. So what are the basic principle of the this I have included because some of the control data or the standard protocols have their particular ethics with respect to the clinical data sets. So for that purpose I have that it is included this particular slide, so that you also have to know that the clinical data is very much you can say and as important. So it has their own ethics for that. So it is because using certain use of particular electronic healthcare records for the knowledge development, for the collaboration of the data mining, privacy and security is the major ethics over here. Okay. Transparency and access of the particular federal data so that it can be explored the marketplace or place of the data, and the objective so that enhancing the data sharing by the particular institutes or the governments, so that based on the federal sponsors of the clinical data which has been used by the particular institutes, so that they can further use of the particular data sets. So publicly involved in the evidences process. So what are the evidences, what are the standard protocols, what are the certain ethics, privacy and security with respect to the clinical data sets are the different you can say as one of the important um, thing you all should also have to know about, apart from using the clinical data sets, what are the different ethics they have followed. Okay. So I have also told you that different machine learning algorithms or the technique is being used. So these are nothing but the algorithms. Okay, that is a linear regressions. So what is the application of that? It is used for the cost prediction. Logistic regression is used for the treatment outcome. Okay. And neural network, I have told you that network based analysis also you can do. For that neural networks, it is being used for the definitely for the treatment of the particular patients. Okay. What are the outcome, how the recovery has been done, what are the follow-ups it's been taken. So support vector machine is also one of the algorithm. So it has been used based on the linear and logistic based, you can do the cost prediction or the treatment response of the particular patients. You can also do the classification. I have told you that the classification also can be done. So for classification you can do the decision tree or the 1R, that is the R based package is there. Clustering also you can do by the k-means clustering, or different web based clustering are also available. So what particular application of that particular algorithm is nothing but finding the groups. I have told you that that is groups are nothing but the making the groups of the patient based on the age factor or the race factor. So that's making the cluster of the similar observations. Okay. So that we can get a similar observations, and we can say that that particular group of patients are showing the same type of response or the treatment based on the particular clustering. Okay. PCA is nothing but the principal component analysis also you can do for both data also for the textual or the numerical data sets, and also the image data sets. So PCA analysis you can do. Whereas detection means the signal detections is being used for the data which has been observed based on the different techniques, that is radiotherapy or different ECG techniques. For that signaling is different application area. Okay. um, Whereas collaboration filtering and the market basket analysis is nothing but the um, designing a novel objectives or the applications using those clinical data sets in the form of drug treatment, okay, care provided patients with respect to pre-preferences, so that we can design a precision medicine by studying the clustering of the group of patients, by studying the cohort study is nothing but the particular studying the group of patients with respect to the particular factors which are been responsible, and using certain algorithms so that we can predict and design a novel objectives using those particular techniques. Okay. So that's the predictive analysis. I have told you that pre-processing, visualizations, are nothing but we can do using those. So the major application of this particular area you can do for the operations are nothing but the administrative works, means the cost effectiveness. You can say what are the clinical and the nurturing for this particular thing you can do, or else for the predictive analysis. That is the clinical decision support. What are the prognostic assessment you can do, okay, what are the preventions you can carry out, that particular thing you can provide, how the disease management can also be done. Okay, so it is also one of the important thing, how the data should be managed, so that we can further analyze properly. uh, Patients matchings are nothing but the grouping of the patients, and the major application is for designing the precision medicine. Sorry. So the cancer, and now the main thing start, that is the cancer clinical data analysis. So that's a really, you can say, a comprehensive overview about what is the clinical data and what are the different factors, what are the different data types, what are different algorithms we can definitely use for that. And after having those particular comprehensive knowledge, that is the role of cancer data analysis is nothing but having those particular comprehensive knowledge and applying those knowledge in the particular domain. So here the domain is respect to the cancer. Okay, so we are applying the clinical data, so that we can analyze the cancer data sets. So that's the cancer clinical data analysis. So the patient with the cancer often different. Definitely, the cancer is one of the heterogeneous disease. So studying the genotype and phenotypic based study, what are the genetic mutations or the genome alterations, and what are the phenotypics, means what are the clinical data sets is being integrated, and resulting those data sets so that we can generate a novel variability with respect to the treatment and what are the management response. Okay, for that purpose we are definitely using the clinical data sets. And for understanding the cancer heterogeneity with respect to the particular over evolution of a time, means based on the particular patient history, and what are the outcomes, so that we can guide the treatment based on the accurate data collection, that is the standard protocols, and the particular clinical data which has been followed routinely, so that we can preserve certain biological samples. Okay, not only the data has been collected from the patients based on the different fluid sample or the image, but also the clinical samples, they have also been stored. Okay, so that particular data is now called as biospecimens. Okay, so the how the particular data is being stored, so the biospecimen data and the quality of life assessment. So that's the thing with respect to the cancer clinical data analysis. Whereas the particular data sets is being used for the collecting those particular clinical data sets carefully, means using the standard protocols, selecting and grouping those patients, and studying the particular what are the genetic changes is there in the particular patients, or else studying the omics data. Okay, so I have told you that integrating the omics data is one of the major application of here. So then only you can come up with certain analysis. Okay, using the biological specimen data. Understanding the cancer heterogeneity is the particular, you can say, as the particular you can say as one of the challenge of the particular clinical data sets, and linking those particular routine clinical data, that is the integration of data, so that you can preserve certain biological samples, so that you can enable, or the researchers can utilize those data sets for discovering novel biomarkers or the druggable targets for the cancers, for the treatment response, for the for the evaluating the personalized treatments. Even you can design a personalized treatment that is called as a targeted therapy. For that purpose also you can use. Okay. And also you can also use for the increasing the patient awareness. Okay. How the particular follow-ups and what the particular patients different awareness can be provided. Okay. For that purpose it is also been included. So the clinical cancer research is definitely used to facilitate and translation of research towards more personalized cancer care and to monitor the oncology quality of the cancer outcome. So that's the major application you can say over here. So this table I have included over here because it is one of the from the particular research paper, and here it is giving the particular means the formats of the particular clinical data which has been collected in the electronic medical records from the hospitals. So whatever I have told you that the collecting the medical records from the hospitals are nothing but these are the records they're actually maintaining. So the journal patient information records they will take. So in journal patient information they will get to know the identification numbers. I have told you that they will provide their own unique identifier IDs with respect to that particular hospitals or the institutes, or else they will provide certain codes for that. Gender. Okay. Date of birth, date of death. Okay. And what are the follow-ups and postal codes. These are nothing but the journal information, whereas it will also take certain clinical history of the particular patient so that they can further do certain management based study or the awareness with respect to the particular patient. For example, you can say over here as lung cancer is mostly occurred in India because of chewing or tobacco, or you can say as a smoking. So for that purpose, certain awareness and the managements has been taken from the governments so that we can share certain awareness so that the particular disease should not be occur in the particular peoples. So that's the awareness we can take by studying or by taking the clinical history. Okay. Or else based on the different age we have given this means the particular adult you can say they have different standard protocols I have told you. So that particular protocols they will follow, whereas the clinical pathological diagnosis. So I think this is very much important to you all, because a date of diagnosis when the patient have been diagnosed with respect to which particular disease. So that is the date of diagnosis very much important, so that we can take the follow up of the patient with respect to providing different treatments. Okay. Tumor type means the stage of the particular tumor. Okay. Over here which stage it is. Radiological image means if the particular image has been taken, so that's the radiological image. Or the clinical TNM, that is a translation tumor has been classification for that, it has been taken for the pathological diagnosis. For the particular curated data recurrences of that particular patient means the particular patient have the particular cancer and it has been again reoccurred in the particular patient. That's a recurrence based study. What are the follow-ups we have been taken, and what is the status of the particular patient, do it is death or it has been alive. And it has been alive, so what is the particular treatment and how the response is giving. Surgical treatment, do it is being needed to do the surgery, so what type of surgery, what is the date of surgery. Radiotherapy if we are providing, so what is the type of radiotherapy, or when it has been started, when it has been ended, and what are the different fractions of the particular therapy they have been provided with respect to curing the particular patients. Okay. And systematic therapies means type of the treatment, that is a radiotherapy treatment or surgical, or only the medicinals are being provided. So that is a type of treatment. Date of treatment and date of treatment end. Okay. Means the particular patient has been recovered successfully or it has been death, or the schema of the treatment. So what particular schema they have been referred for. Do they are providing only medicines, or with respect to medicines they are providing certain therapies, that is a chemotherapy or the radiotherapy. Okay. So that thing it will take in. So that particular thing it has been used, or directly the patient need a surgery with respect to the medicines. So that's the particular schema it has been designed.
based on the clinical sample only. Okay. So whereas the data, they have also given another one table, that is the data which is collected from the patient, okay, based on the complete questionnaires. So the family history, okay, and the lifestyle. So that's all. I have told you the different factors, alcoholic habitat or not, smoking or not. So that's also a most important factor for studying the clinical data sets. Okay. Social conditions, okay, means the different marriage status, born children's education. So that's other things they have been taken. Quality of life, I think this, that's also very much important. Okay. Daily living activities, if based on the particular which particular disease has been occurred. Okay. So that's the different mental status, that's the different factors which is also required, and it is very important for studying which type of disease with respect to clinical data sets, so that we can further analyze those data sets, predict and design certain novel objectives with respect to the studying those data sets. For that purpose, it is really needed. Whereas now this particular slide will give you the overview, or the, you can say as the uh, you can say as one of the important slide, because here actually you are getting the clinical data. Okay. So these are the particular databases, so you can refer this for extracting the clinical data sets with respect to the particular databases. That is the clinicaltrial.gov is one of the particular repository where you will get the clinical data. Okay. And different WHO and the different European institutes, and these are the open trials. So these are the different databases, so where you can actually get the clinical data sets with respect to the patients, and the which type of disease, what are the particular factors, age factors are the responsible, and how well manner the particular data is being stored, how the particular data is being managed, so that we can use those data sets for doing further analysis and prediction based study. Okay. So apart from that, we also get the particular clinical research data sets. So for this particular data sets, you can get, that is the biological specimen data sets. Okay. Or the biomedical translation research, that is taking the biomedical data sets. Okay. Or the clinical data sets, if the data is being you can say as a control access, how you can request for that. Okay. Based on that particular thing, you can get over here what are the limitations and how the access of the data has been provided. So that particular thing you will get to know from this particular links, you can refer those. um, yes. So as it is for the cancer clinical data analysis, so I will just explore you one of the database where you will get particular which particular cancer type, what is the study sponsor, from which particular projects, a number of subjects are nothing but how many samples has been studied. And this particular data you can get from the clinicaltrial.gov. So they have given their own unique identifier. Okay. So that particular, based on the cancer type, you will get the number of patients with respect to getting the particular clinical data sets with respect to the patients and the cancer type. Okay. So that particular thing you will get to know from the clinicaltrial.gov database. For apart from that, we have different databases. Okay. That is the clinical trial databases I have told you. So these are the other databases where you can actually utilize and explore for getting the clinical data sets. So this thing I will going to show you in one of the TCGA database, where in the TCGA is nothing but the cancer genome atlas, where it is providing the clinical data based on the diagnosis, explore family history, follow-ups, molecular text, pathological report, or the treatments. So how very nicely and very you can say as a very well mannered the data is been organized and it is been stored, so that we the researchers can definitely use the benefits of those data sets for designing novel objectives. Okay. So biospecimen data is nothing but this slide I have told you, the data is also being preserved in in the form of image or the tissue sample, or the sample and the group based on the groups, that is a sequence read groups portion of the sample which has been extracted. Analytes is based on which particular analysis and the samples has been done. And the allocates are nothing but the particular sample which has been taken from the patient based on the particular volume and weight. So that particular thing you will get to know from the TCG database. So this is one of the example which I have been discussed with respect to machine learning and deep learning algorithm. So this particular paper you will get to know how the particular flow is being carried out. Okay, we can do the clinical cell line based study with respect to molecular analysis based on learning and designing certain machine learning models or the predictive models, understanding and analyzing those data sets by using different technologies or the particular methods, and definitely putting forth a different hypothesis and novel analysis with respect to the treatment of the particular patients by studying and integrating the omics data sets or the clinical data sets. So this is nothing but the how the data which has been extracted from different uh, data sets, okay, how the data has been stored, and which are the particular steps or the standard steps which has been carried out, so that we can just analyze those data for studying the quality of the data for patient profiling and for finding different analysis and predictions using those particular clinical data sets which has been stored and which has been managed from different repositories. Okay, so that's the you can say as the major applications of studying the clinical data. You can get to know the patient predictions based on improving the particular staffing, or you can say as the accuracy of that, uh, taking or keeping the electronic healthcare records is, I think it is very much important, because it is really help for the studying the real time alterations or analysis of data. Okay, for enhancing the patient management or the particular based on the awareness, using health data for designing or predicting a novel strategy, so that we can just provide those particular patients for the recovery or for the particular finding novel druggable targets for that. So predictive analysis in healthcare is a major application by taking those clinical data. Okay, so you can reduce the particular frauds means by enhancing the security, how the secure your data with respect to the clinical data sets, the particular samples you can further use. Okay, so telemedicine is nothing but the one of the application where the particular can say different phases has been carried out in the particular clinical study, so that to design or purpose or put forth a novel drug targets using or by referring the particular standard clinical phases and coming those data or the particular drug into the market. Okay, improve the supply chain management. I have told you the data management is one of the particular major uh, domain where or you can say as the major application, how the particular clinical data has been managed based on the standard protocols that has been improved. You can do the improve of that particular thing, and developing a new therapies and innovations. So new therapies is nothing but the precision medicine or designing novel target therapies, and inventions are nothing but you can use different AI technologies or the bio IoTs. Okay, so that particular thing also you can integrate over here, or the biomedical based study for giving the applications of the particular clinical data with respect to the disease level information. Okay, so I think I have covered a broad overview with respect to what is clinical data majorly, and based on that how the different factors and the particular types of the data is been available, and what are the different data sets are been the databases have been available in the bioinformatics platform, or the, you can use different R or Python or different machine learning algorithms, so that you can design a novel predictive biomarkers or the druggable targets or the precision medicine by integrating the canceromics and clinical data sets by grouping those patients based on the age or the risk factor or the age different factors which has been responsible. So that's the, you can say, as a broad overview with respect to what is clinical data sets. Whereas apart from this, if anybody have any questions, they can just ask to me, or else they can just definitely enroll for this particular data clinical data sets analysis workshop, so that in the particular workshop we can take a maximum benefits by exploring different Python or R languages, or else you can say as a different bioinformatics platform, where actually they can extract those clinical data sets and get to know that how actually you can just further analyze and visualize and also do certain prediction based study. Okay, if anybody have any question, they can just still ask to me. So I think I have covered a broad overview with respect to what is clinical data with respect to even cancer based study. Okay, any questions? Okay, if uh, okay, means the, I think one question has been asked, what is GHS code for hospital data management? So I have told you that each particular hospitals or the institutes, they have provided their own unique identifier, so that whatever the data is been means you can say as a shared by the different institute, they all should have to know that from which particular institutes or the project or the hospitals the data is being come, okay, how it has been stored. So for that the particular code or the identifier, it has been provided, so that further we can do certain data management study for or else for designing a novel data management analysis based on which standard protocols has been referred by different institutes or the hospitals. So that's the unique identifier for that particular hospitals. Okay, so any questions, or else we can conclude for this uh, particular session. And I think if you all try to enroll for this particular course, then I think you will all get a maximum benefits by exploring different databases and the tools which are there. And you will get a hands-on demonstration with respect to extracting those clinical data with respect to number of diseases, and studying what are the different data types and the different image data or the clinical or the numerical data sets are available, and how actually you can do certain preliminary analysis and predictions using different databases and the tools which are there in the bioinformatics platform. Okay, so I think no more questions. So thank you all for once again for enrolling for this particular session, and I hope that you will all enroll for the further workshops so that you can get maximum benefits of that. I think I have one another questions. Yes, please.